They were just talking about this earlier, actually.
Yeah.
Hello, friends. How can I help you?
Yeah. Hi. We got a situation here. My opponent played Ancient Stirrings, and I spell pierced it. Okay.
Interesting.
So after the spell pierce resolves, he just no pays. I say, I remember that I had this Esper Sentinel trigger.
All right.
So I'm wondering if it's if I can get the card draw from the Esper Sentinel.
All right, and this would be, yes, whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power.
Yeah. So the Ancient Stirrings was his first spell of that type.
Yep, and so this would be a missed trigger. So just to confirm, when you casted the Ancient Stirrings, how much mana did you have open when the spell pierce is played? Or when in response?
I just tapped for Glimmer Void for it.
Okay.
So this is all I had besides that.
Okay. So yeah, it would be impossible to even pay the 2 for spell pierce.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have an Esper Sentinel's trigger that was missed. I believe, unfortunately, since this is a beneficial trigger, that is simply just a missed trigger. That would just not go on the stack yet. That would just be a missed trigger, and this does not. It would never. The Esper Sentinel trigger would not be put on the stack.
Okay. So the ruling is that I committed this trigger, and the Esper Sentinel triggered ability is not going to be put on the stack.
Yes.
Is there like a penalty for this?
I did not see one, but I'm very new to using competitive ruling, so
Oh yeah.
I may. I do not have the confidence to issue a warning, so I do not wish to.
All right. So what is the difference in the case of mistrigger? What is the difference between whether you would issue a warning or not, just in general?
Whether or not it was particularly if the trigger was more detrimental to the player versus beneficial to.
All right. So that's good. So is Esper Sentinel's trigger generally considered to be detrimental to me, the trigger's controller, who forgot that trigger? Is there? Yes.
Esper Sentinel's trigger, the actual effect is a beneficiary one.
Okay.
A detrimental one, say.
Good. So would it make sense for me to get a warning for forgetting about Esper Sentinel's triggered ability, which in no possible, universe, unless you jump through a crazy ton of hoops, would
have benefited you?
Yeah. Could I ever benefit from intentionally missing this triggered ability? Probably not.
No.
So therefore there would be no warning because of that consideration. Now there is one other consideration that I want to that I wanted to address here. At what point did I play the spell pierce?
You played the spell pierce in response to his Ancient Stirrings.
Okay. Would this triggered ability still be on the stack? Is it legal for me to play a spell pierce with this triggered ability still on the stack?
That is true. It would be. Esper Sentinel's trigger could have legally been on the stack when you cast the spell pierce.
Okay. So if that's the case,
and since only spell pierce is only resolved and nothing else, in theoretically, Esper Sentinel's trigger could be added to the stack as if it has never been on the stack.
Okay. So what do you think about that?
In that case, given that it's this exact position in which we are, since there has been, we are technically not at the bottom of the stack. This is so he hasn't cast anything else after the spell pierce.
Is that true, opponent?
That I have not cast anything?
Yeah.
Have you cast anything after your initial Ancient Stirring has been casted?
Even after it got countered?
After it got countered, yes.
No, but I asked my opponent if I had priority to continue with my main phase.
Yeah, and so at that point, I called for a judge and asked the question about the Esper Sentinel.
In this case, you did not confirm that he had priority yet. In which case, I would rule that Esper Sentinel's trigger would be allowed to be put on the stack.
All right, so that is your final ruling? That I do get the Esper Sentinel trigger?
My final ruling in this exact situation, yes, Esper Sentinel's trigger would be put on the stack with the knowledge that it would have been there. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
with
the
with
confidence that I hear is not the confidence of a man who...
I wish to be more confident, but like I can't think of the
So,
words.
but like it's new to you, right? Like
Yes.
you aren't confident because you aren't sure, right? Like if you're confident in something and you're not sure about it, like that's bad. Right? You shouldn't be confident. Yeah. Okay. So this is the answer to this scenario. So triggered abilities are assumed to be remembered unless conclusively proven otherwise. So
Okay.
if it is a legal possibility, like if it involves only legal game actions for the triggered ability to still be on the stack, then that's what we're default to go with, unless we have some sort of evidence that says that's not the case. So
Okay.
therefore, it is possible for someone to play Ancient Stirrings, me to respond to both Esper Sentinel triggers with a Spell Pierce, have the Spell Pierce resolve, and then be like, okay, now I have these these Esper Sentinel triggers that resulted from that Ancient Stirrings. So that is a legal sequence of game actions. Now, I don't know if you caught this when I described the situation originally, but I specifically admitted that I forgot about the Esper Sentinel trigger until just then, when my opponent said, can I have priority to play another spell? So I just at that point remembered that I had that percent. At this point, the important fact to know is that the infraction is called missed trigger. It is not called forgotten trigger. So legally, according to the policy documents that we have in place, even if I forgot the trigger and remembered it, as long as I remembered it by the appropriate time in the game, it is officially considered to still be live to go on the stack.
Yes.
So that's a couple of important facts that are related to this specific situation that we had here. Any other questions that you had? So the ruling that you issued there was in fact correct, that the Esper Sentinel triggered abilities are able to go on the stack, and I can take those triggers now.
So to try to summarize the action here,
Yes.
why the ruling was up, because the game state could be in such a way that all the current game actions that were taken could have been done in such a way that was still legal and still have the triggers put on the stack as well. That is why they're allowed to be added to the stack as well.
Yeah. So for example, if I played a spell, and then afterwards I tried to or afterwards I let him play a sorcery or a land or something, it's not possible for that for there to be a legal game state that involves those two triggered abilities still being on the stack while he plays a land or while he plays another spell or something. Instants would be okay. So actually, if you played an instant, then hypothetically my triggered abilities could still be on the stack, underneath that instant.
Just be under a pile.
Yeah. So, but if it's like a land or sorcery, obviously you can't play those with stuff being on the stack. So that's conclusive evidence that those triggered abilities have been progressed past the point of the game.
So as long as all the actions taken can
Are
result
consistent with the game state having those triggered abilities there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Thank you,
Great.
and enjoy the rest of your day.